Welcome, everyone. My name is Jamie Klein. I have the honor of being president of Har Shalom. It's really meaningful to gather tonight with friends, allies, and our Jewish community. Your presence tonight means so much, and we hope to share more meaningful moments together. A heartfelt thank you to our generous sponsor, who remains anonymous, yet has shown deep dedication to supporting Har Shalom. Remarkably, this donor has never visited us in Montana or Missoula, but they recognize the importance of standing with this small community as we combat anti-Semitism and foster Jewish life. I also want to extend our gratitude to our valued partners, Zootown Jews and the University of Montana's Central and Southwest Asian Studies Center, for their support in planning this event. I'm honored to introduce someone very special. I met him just a year ago and was thrilled to discover a Jewish, Israeli, athletic, and genuinely cool young man for my 3 boys to admire. After only 2 babysitting gigs, he became their forever favorite. In a community with so few Jewish families, Geffin's courage to stand up and speak out during challenging times is truly remarkable. And it's the kind of strength I hope my boys will emulate one day. Please join me in welcoming Geffen.
Okay, hi everyone, thank you so much for coming. It means a ton that you all made an effort to be here and to learn about the October 7th attack. My name is Geffen, as Jamie said, and I was born and raised here in Missouri. I visit my family in Israel for 2 months every year since I was born. So I have a very strong connection with my Israeli roots. I know it's not my presentation, but I would like to share with you why I'm so happy Yair is here to tell us about his first-hand experience of what happened to his kibbutz and his family on October 7th. When I woke up the morning after this attack, I opened my family's group chat and couldn't believe the information. I was horrified by what happened. While this was already terrible enough, I couldn't believe that soon after, there were people around me in my community that were coming up with excuses and reasons to legitimize this massacre. I hope Yair's presentation will provide you an insight on what happened on October 7th.
My name is Dalit, and I'm Geffen's mom. We would like to thank Faces of October 7th for bringing Yair and facilitating face-to-face connections between Israel and the rest of the world. No place is too far or too small, as they even made it to our little Missoula, Montana. The ability to learn from the source about Israel since October 7th seems immensely important, when due to sheer numbers, Israel is losing the narrative on social media, and disinformation seems to be a legitimate tactic. Our presenter, Yair, was born and raised in Kibbutz Nir Oz, which is less than a couple of kilometers from the border with Gaza. A light jog. While Yair doesn't live on the kibbutz, his parents, siblings, and many of his friends do. Keep trying to imagine his life starting 6:29 a.m. on October 7th, and my brain just can't compute. Both his parents were taken hostages by Hamas terrorists. His mom was released after 49 days, while his dad is still there 387 days later. Yair has been relentlessly active and outspoken to bring his family and all of our hostages back. I've seen him in protests in Israel and interviews as well. Even he doesn't know that the last time Geffen, his sister, and I were in Israel in August, we were supposed to meet his cousin, Yiftach, on Kibbutz Nir Oz. Yiftach lives on Moshav Lachish, the place my best friend has grown up in, and has been a second home to me. Yiftach canceled last minute, but knew we were already nearby Kibbutz Nir Oz, and called to urge me to drive out of the area quickly since the area was about to be shut down as a closed military space. We talk about 6 degrees of separation in the world. Israel is a small place. Yair and I have 2. Because of that 2 degrees of separation, I wanted to share with you all the little surprise Yair's family sent over. Yair, this is for you.
אבוש, שבוע טוב.
בוקר טוב, עוזי.
שיהיה לך שבוע טוב ומוצלח ובשורות טובות.
בהצלחה בכל הפגישות. שיהיה טוב, עוזר, מועיל.
שתחזור מהר הביתה, שלום, שיהיה שבוע טוב, עם הרבה בשורות טובות. וכמו שהשם שלך, שתאיר לנו את הדרך. וזהו, ונגמור עם הסיפור הזה כבר שסבא גדי יחזור, ומהחטופים הנוספים יחזרו לביתם, ונוכל לחיות כמו בני אדם.
אנחנו אוהבים אותך, אבוש.
That was last night. That was today, right?
That was, I got this morning. So this is Yair's family, his wife and children.
I am surprised.
This presentation is being recorded by Missoula Community Access Television as part of a media assistance grant donated to HaShalom by MCAT. There will be time at the end for questions, so please no interruptions during Yair's presentation. Please keep the occasion respectful and a place to listen and learn. And without further delay, Yair, coming over.
Okay, then full screen it. And then
It's so much easier from here.
you want the presentation view slideshows, of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit emotional now, so excuse me. Yes. My name is Yair Moses. I was born and raised in Kibbutz Nir Oz. I will tell you a bit more about it soon. What is kibbutz at all? I believe most of you don't even know what it is. And this is my story since October 7th and go on. Kibbutz Nir Oz is a very small community, 400 people. We live mostly for agriculture and industry. A lot of fields. In America size, it's a small place, but for Israeli place.
What can we do about the sound?
I will talk louder. I can, it's okay. Well, it's a very peaceful place. People believe with peace and coexistence with our neighbors from one side of the border and the other. It's really one big family, the kibbutz. I will explain more. And it's only 1 mile from the Gaza border. The Mina says it's a one big family because it's not just people that living on the same place. A kibbutz is a community of people that living together, share the resources. The fields, it's not my field and my neighbor field. It's the fields of the kibbutz. And some people work in these fields. And all the income from the fields come into the kibbutz. And every people of the kibbutz get the same amount of money. It's no matter if they're working in the fields, in the industry. If they're working, for example, we have all the people. Now it's a bit changed, but when I was a child, everyone ate in a big dining hall. We didn't have, no one cooked in his own home. My parents' kitchen was about this size. I'm not joking. It's 1 meter square, and around it some small appliance, and that's it. And there are people that work in the kitchen of the kibbutz and making the food, and they're getting the same like the people that work in the fields, and everyone get the same. And people that do the accountings and the laundry and things like this. So it's a very big, one big community that is one family together. For us as kids, we used to sleep in a place that's called children's house. It's a very, very weird thing to understand. We didn't sleep with our parents. My parents' home, like I said, when I was a child, had 1 bedroom, 1 living room, and a small kitchen. That's it. And each day we were in the evening going to sleep in this children's house. We were the groups of all the kids from the same age. In the morning we woke up there. This is where our class was. This is where we had our meals. And in the afternoon we used to go to bed with our parents for 4 or 5 hours and come back to sleep there. It's a very, very strange thing to understand, to learn, but for me as a child, it was one of the best experience. And all the people I grew up with are my brothers. I spent with them much more time than I spent with my own siblings. I have a brother and sister, but I spend with these much more time than my own brothers. This is just some picture of the kibbutz. You see the one on the right bottom, it's aerial picture. All the houses, many trees, the fields around it, the big barn for the grains, and this place is what I want to say. I'm sorry. It was like a paradise because Nir Oz is in the south of Israel. It's the beginning of the desert. All around is dry, but the kibbutz itself, the gardeners of the kibbutz, kept it all the time very green, and it was a paradise. And in the recent years, still, people said, how can you live there? And it was paradise with 95% paradise, 5% of hell. From time to time, for the last, I think, 20 years, we had like many times bombs from Gaza, and people had to go to their shelters, the safe room. But these were terrible times. But after that, quiet came back, and it was an amazing place to grow up in. October 7th. Like many people in Israel, we woke up 6:29, like it said, heard the sirens, rushed to our safe room in our home, and also we opened the TV to see what's going on. In Israel, on the TV, when there are sirens, you see on the TV there's the name of the places where the sirens going. So we saw so many places, and we saw Nir Oz there also again and again, like many others. So we took the phone, called my parents, and my parents said, yeah, we're in the safe room, don't worry. Both of parents live in Nir Oz in separate houses. They're divorced. And after some time, we see it again and again, and we keep calling, is everything okay? And they said, yeah, don't worry, everything is okay. Around 9:30, we lost connection with both of them. No answers. A bit earlier, we heard that there were rumors about terrorists coming inside the kibbutz. And then they said that people are instructed not to talk, to speak quiet, just to text. Because at the beginning, no one understood the magnitude of this thing. And they thought it's okay, it's only a group of terrorists. We have the first response group that will react and do it in each kibbutz, in each place of living in Israel. There is a group they call the first response group. They are supposed to answer the first need against any attack. Yeah, we think about we might be attacked, so we need the people that will be able to react to it. And they're supposed to hold on 15, 20 minutes until the army will arrive. So people didn't know the magnitude of it, and they thought, okay, the first response group will handle them, stay at your home. So we started to text with them, but around 9:30 we lost connection with both of my parents. After some time, friends called me and told me, there are rumors that your father was taken by the terrorists. So we tried to find out. I called my brothers, and my brother and my sister, and we didn't really call my father life partner, but no answer. And said we didn't get to understand exactly. Later, we learned that when the terrorists came inside their house, my father left the safe room and told the terrorist he's the only one in the house. He sacrificed himself to protect his life partner, Efrat, her daughter, Doron, and two granddaughters, Raz and Aviv, which are only 2 and 4, that came to visit Efrat. And when he didn't understand what happened, so he thought they were coming to rob them. So he gave them some money he has in the house, the car keys and other things. But after some time, they took him with him, but only him. So he thought it worked. But unfortunately, another group came on into the same house. They left the door of the safe room open and hide in the corner. So if even someone look inside, won't see them. But another group came, found them, and took them. Efrat was found dead in the fields of the kibbutz after a few days, after a bit relaxed. Doron and 2 daughters were kidnapped to Gaza. They've been there for 49 days in hospital and in private houses, and they were released on the first day of the agreement we had back in November, after 49 days. Doron and one of the daughters got hurt in the middle of the kidnapped. They took her to the hospital and put the stitches, but without any anesthesia and without anything. She had a stroll hug. And when they came back, they need to go back to the hospital and get some treatment. But they are okay. They managed, physically they're okay. The trauma, of course, is there. The little girls are very afraid to be alone, and they go to counsel and everything. And hopefully, thanks to the fact that they're very small, they will forget it and be able to live a normal life. I don't think any adult that suffered will be able to live normal life later. But for the little girls, hopefully they're young enough to remember it. In total, for Nir Oz, on the first wave, between 130 and 150 Nokhba terrorists came inside. The Nokhba, it's not just terrorists, they're trained, I cannot call it soldier, but the people that were trained to use the weapons. They came with the amount of weapons that just by themselves, they can start a war. In total, in Israel, more than 3,000 people came inside. So terrorists came on the first wave. After some time came another group, another people I still call them terrorists, but they're like civilians that happens, or not the trained Nokba terrorists. And a third wave of civilians also arrived Israel, into Nir Oz. Women, children also participated in robbing, looting everything, destroying, burning the places, the houses of the kibbutz. In Nir Oz, there are more than 200 houses, 224 or 5, I don't remember. Only 6 houses, the terrorists didn't go inside. All the others, they've been inside. In some of them, they just broke things and robbed whatever they could take. In others, they just torched them in the end, and the house was burned to the ground. IDF didn't arrive in Nir Oz. It's something that is still investigated, but unfortunately, they arrived in Nir Oz only at 2 at noon. In many other places, the IDF arrived, and there were terrible fights, and many soldiers died. In Nir Oz, where IDF arrived at 2 o'clock in noon, all the terrorists already left. They finished to do whatever they wanted to do, kidnapped all the people, murder and burn and steal everything, and they left the kibbutz. This is the picture of the kibbutz that was taken at noon from another kibbutz nearby. You can see all the smoke. In Nir Oz, 40% of the houses were burned to the ground. Another 20% were damaged in a way that they're not suitable for living anymore. And the other 40%, they're okay, some broken windows or glasses or some, but it's a very, very delicate situation, and even the people that their house was wasn't destroyed or burned, they say, I cannot go back to this house because maybe the husband was murdered and the wife said, I cannot live in this house, or just the terrorists been there so much, ate to drink from the food, they said, I cannot go back to this home. So there is a lot of going on. What's going to be with the kibbutz? How to rebuild it? Are we going to destroy everything? Are we going to destroy only the houses that cannot be lived in? It's a bit also a question of budget, because it costs a lot. So the government give budget, some budget, not everything. So it's a lot of going on as there is plans, and we're still thinking what will be there. My mother, Margalit, like I said, after we lost connection with her, we didn't want to happen. After IDF arrived at the kibbutz, it still took several hours until they scanned all the kibbutz to make sure there are no terrorists anymore. They didn't do it. And then they started to bring all the people from their houses to a children's house that is protected from missiles. In Israel, when there is alarm, you have some time, you need to go to the shelter, to the safe room. In Kibbutz Nir Oz, it's only 15 seconds. Some of the elder men in Nir Oz, when there is siren, they just sit in the chairs and don't run to the safe room, because the chance that something will happen to them if they rush to get to the safe room in 15 seconds is much more bigger than the chance that the missile will fall on their house. So they play the risk and check the chance. The safe rooms in Israel, you must understand it, it's not like we see in American movies. It's just one room of the house, which is built from reinforced concrete, and the door is just handled. The lock is not locking it for people to open it. It's just locked from the blast, if there is a blast that won't go inside, and the people there will be safe. So all the people from the kibbutz were taken to this children's house, which the roof is they made above the children's house another roof of reinforced concrete. That's because the kindergarten teacher, they cannot pick up all the kids and put them in a safe place in 15 seconds. It's an impossible mission. So the whole place itself, it's protected. But this is the reality we used to live in. So it's impossible. When terrorists arrived at my mother's house, she heard them breaking the back door. It's a slide glass door. They broke it. They came inside and came to the safe room, opened it. She couldn't hold the handle against someone in his 20s that came. And she understood immediately what's happening and told them, it's okay, I will come with you. No need for violence. And thanks, they didn't use physical violence against her. Of course, when there's a guy pointed at you, you're cooperate. You don't fight it, but yeah. So they didn't took physical violence. They took her. She managed to grab, the picture you see on the top is her on like a golf cart that took her. She managed to grab her hat and some, she have a CPAP device that she needs when she's sleeping because her breath stopped. So she took it with her, hold it. They put it on this golf cart. 2 terrorists, you see one on the left and one on the right. You can see the start of him. Took her on this golf cart and immediately drove to Gaza. About 30 minutes drive in the beginning in the fields of Nir Oz, and then crossed the border when it was breached, and then into Gaza and to city Khan Younis. During the time, she see all the people around her cheering in the streets. And when they arrived in one house, and there was open to a tunnel, and immediately they took her into the tunnel, and then she spent all the 49 days she was there underground in the tunnels. No sunlight, no fresh air, humidity, very high humidity. The walls where it's not concrete, it's just mud. It was mud. It's not sand, you see. And lucky for us, she was a place with some elderly men, and they treated them with some dignity and no physical violence. But and I can say just a bit more reasonable. It's not even reasonable. A bit better condition than many others. So I have a decent amount of food, some medicine in the beginning, and she managed to survive. She's a strong woman. She believed she will be saved, and thought what she can do in order to feel vital, to feel necessary. So she helped the people around her. Some of them came wounded, so she helped them treat the wounds. Some of them were just didn't have the power to stand up or go to the toilet. She helped them. She was like responsible for some medicine that were in the beginning, and she gave each one his medicine on time and things like this. Maybe they sang songs together or things like this to cheer up. And after 49 days, she was released also the same day, like Doron and her daughters. They weren't together. They just met on the first day when all the hostages were sent to one place. The picture is the bottom is the way when she arrived at the hospital in Israel. You can see me and my brother and sister. She's still dressed with the dress that they gave her as a hostages. My father, Gadi, like I told you, when the terrorists came, they took him. This is the only picture that we have that was taken by a Palestinian photographer. My cousin found it on New York Times on Tuesday after 3 days. It says its name, it says it was taken from Kibbutz Nir Oz. All the details are there. And you can see on the picture how scared he is, even the shirt is not here. He was without his shirt, and they put him another shirt. And this is the evidence that we saw that they took him. On December 19, we got a video released by the terrorists that we saw him speaking. This is on the right, it's the picture of him from the video. On the left, yes, it's the same person. It's him on last summer. So he's very thin, look exhausted, look very tired. I think he looks 10 years older than what he looked. He used to be a very strong man, even though he was 79 years old. You couldn't tell he's 79. He's very strong, very vital, happy man, and doing everything, laughing and doing everything. And it's a totally different man. And since December 19, we have no sign of life of my father. We don't know anything about him. We don't know if he's underground or in houses. We don't know if he gets medicines. We don't know how much food he gets, if at all. And actually, we don't even know if he's alive. But as long as there is no clear update message that all the evidence show that he's dead, we'll act and believe that he's alive and do whatever we can in order to bring him and the other hostages back. My father, on March, it was his 80th birthday, so today he's already 80 years old. On the left, this is Efrat, his life partner for 17 years. They love to travel together all over the world. On the right top, you see him with the 2 grandsons of Efrat. She has 4 grandsons and grandchildren, and she treats them. From my father's point of view, they're also like his. He doesn't treat them different from his own grandchildren. And they called him grandfather. They're asking where his grandfather's Gadi, when he will be back and everything. So he treats them with everything, and he's a family man. For us as a family, he loves to be us with the kids, with us, with our children. On the bottom right, it's a picture that was taken in Nir Oz 1 week before October 7. We visited there, we went to the fields. All the time when we go to the fields, we go to Nir Oz to visit my parents. We need to go to the fields to see whatever there are. If it was autumn, so it was peanuts, but sometimes it's to get potatoes, carrots, whatever there is. On the same time on the fields, we used to go and pick up a fresh and take it home. It's part of doing. When the kids were younger, we also used to do it in tractor. And in one story, I remember that my middle son, I have a daughter and 2 sons. So the one with the red shirt here he loved so much to be on the tractors. And every time he had to do there. And one time we visited the Nir Oz, and I don't remember what it was, but we missed going with the tractors. We spent some time, and then we came inside the car, and they said, "Oh, no tractor today?" And he was so disappointed. And my father immediately, and he had to go to something, so he called the frat and told her, I'll be late a few times. He told us, let's go to the garage of the kibbutz. We went there, we waited in the car, he took my son, put him on the tractor, and did 2 rounds around with him until he was satisfied, and then each one continued his way. He couldn't have his grandchild disappointed that no tractor, so he had to do it. He was late 15 minutes, whatever he was supposed to go to, but he didn't care. This was most important for him to do. And on the left bottom is a picture with all his grandson that we took on his, I think it was 78th birthday. Efrat, like I said, was his partner for 17 years. They love to travel around the world. Here we see pictures from Vietnam, and from last summer they did a long trip to Iceland, traveled there, enjoyed their life. They planned already the next one. And they love to be together. And to tell you the truth, we don't even know if he knows that she was murdered or not. We don't know. We have no idea to tell if he heard something. We know some of the Israeli hostages heard some news, some didn't. Some heard radio, some didn't. We don't know if he was reached to anything and if he heard it. We tried to talk. Whenever we talked to the radio, they said, if he's listening, can you tell something? And we tell him something. But of course, we don't tell this. We are okay. Our children are okay. My sister Moran was also in Nir Oz on the same day. I didn't tell it. And we said she and the 2 daughters okay. When my mother was released, and even before we met her, we get to talk to her on the phone. And then I talked to her, and then she heard my sister in the background and said, "Oh, is it Moran? Is she okay?" Because she didn't know all the time. She knew Moran was in the kibbutz with her 2 daughters, but she didn't know what happened. My sister's house is one of the 6 that the terrorists couldn't get inside. They tried to shut the lock. They couldn't open it. They tried to shut the axle, they didn't open it, and from some reason that we'll never know, they just move on to other places. Maybe someone called them, maybe, I don't know what happened. Because in other houses, just put a grenade inside to burn it or explode the door, whatever. They did many things to be able to go inside. And here, they just didn't do it. But still, she was inside her house in a terrible fear for more than 10 hours until IDF arrived and rescued him. She heard the house nearby to her, I think 20 meters from her house, was burned to the ground with all family inside it. 2 parents and kids and twins. I think there were 5 and a 2-year-old boy. They were suffocated to death in the safe room because the smoke came inside and they couldn't go there. But she's saved, luckily for us. These are just pictures of us when we were young. On the left is my father and me and my brothers. Also on the right, playing around. He used to spend a lot of time with us, even if he worked very hard in the fields. Whenever he came in the afternoon, it was the time for us, and he used to spend with us a lot of time all the time. Like I said, a very family man. On the right is with my brother and his son, and on the left is with my family. This is in Shavuot. Shavuot is a Jewish holiday. It's got two parts. One is the religious part, and the other is the agriculture part. So us in the kibbutz, we celebrate the agriculture. It's like the holiday when you bring the first product of this year or something like this. And it's a big event in the kibbutz. All the time, people are, all the families that of the kibbutz members love to come in Shavuot. There is a big expedition, we put all the agriculture tools and they show how it's go. They leave the wheat fields, part of it that they don't harvest it, and then come the combine that harvest it, and all the tools that process the land, the soil, and make it prepare for the next thing that's going to be planted there. And after that, they throw some candies into the combine with all the grains, and it's pass and throw them away. All the kids are running to pick up the grains. Sometimes they do something with we call it tractor dance. A few people with the tractors, they synchronize something that they're doing there. Very nice, all the people love it. They take groups and they do something related to agriculture. For example, the big hay that's there, who's rolling there first for like 50 meters or things like this. So it's a very nice celebration. And my father for many years is the host of it. He explained about all the agriculture tools and everything. And Shavuot this year, when of course we couldn't do it at all, but to think this is Shavuot with my father was very hard for us. Very hard time for us. This is some picture. He arrived at the kibbutz. My father arrived at the kibbutz in the early 60s, and he's living there since. So this is just some picture when they are young. Next to him is my mother with the notebook, and they're still together. They are singing and happy around the fire. This is what they used to do in the 60s or 70s, I don't know. This is another picture of him working in the kibbutz. On the left, I don't even know what he's doing. Look at the dining room. I don't know what is on there, but yes, yeah. And here is in the fields. He feels it's like his love, maybe his first wife, not even his second, but all the time he was in the fields, working there, making sure everything okay. He loved to go there. He loved teaching about the fields. All the years he worked there. In about 34 years ago, all the family, we went to Peru for 1 year when he taught them to do better agriculture. It was a very nice experience for us, as a family, to see something else. First time we really left the kibbutz and left Israel. But since then, my father started to go twice a year, more or less, around the world and guiding people in developing countries about agriculture. He was agronomist. He learned about soil and irrigation. He also was a world specialist in potatoes in Israel. He was very experienced with it. And he used to travel around the world and teach them how to do better agriculture. So he traveled in South America, in Asia, in Africa, in the Far East. Wherever it was needed, he used to go there, guide there. If the place he used to go to, they have some requirements, what they need to do, he knew how to learn the exact fruit or vegetables they're growing there and what they need, and to come to give them the right advice how to grow it better. He did because he really believed this will improve their life, not just because it's a way of living or something like this. So this is the more picture in Africa. And one of the places he used to go the most is Georgia. He went there once and he liked the people there, they liked him too. And since it started to go there for about 17 years, he used to go there once, twice, even sometimes 3 times a year and guide them. He had very good relations. He loved the people there. He loved going there. He loved the place. It's a very beautiful country. And on the last Independence Day of Israel, the ambassador of Israel in Georgia invited us, me and my sister. We left there, and and then there was like a ceremony there about the hostages, and my father was in the center. So many people there, many people that he used to work with, they were invited. And after the ceremony, they did the big meal. They have the name. It's not just a meal. There is something that the host, someone like the elderly man there is host the meal. And after some few minutes, he comes up, he says something about the relationship, love each other, or thing like this. And then one of the people that came told a story about my father and how he helped him and everything. It was so amazing to hear that people that remember him, even though he wasn't there for more than 6 years, stopped going there. They still loved him so much and remember how he influenced them. And one of the stories I can't forget is the story they told that when he just arrived, one of the first time he came there, they did something after there was a war between Armenia and Azerbaijan, and it ended and there was some peace. And decided to do like agriculture course for all 3 countries. Georgia hosted it just for them, to show, let's work together. And he started to lecture in the course. And he say things, and one of the people said, but what you're saying is wrong. We all learned all the years that to do totally different. And my father, which is a very practical man, told him, you know what? This is a long-term course. Let's take a field. Half of it, you will grow whatever your instruction. Half will be grow according to my instruction, and we'll see. And after 3 months, they harvested everything. And then they found out that on the other side, there was like 19 tons of product. And in my father's side, there was 51 tons. Yeah, and from that moment, they really everyone understand that this man knows what he's talking about. He's not just telling a story that we cannot prove them. He knows what we're doing. But he kept going there. He loved go there to, not just in Tbilisi, he used to go to the counties to see their own fields of the people and see, because he believed in practice, not just in theory. So he used to go to the fields and see the problems and then advise them what's the best for them to do to improve their results. Hey, 1 second, one before, sorry, I'll be back here. Also, when people used to come to Israel for an agriculture course from all over the world, he used to go to lecture them. He used to bring them to the fields of Nir Oz, again, to be practical, to show them how things are really are, not just theory in the class. He loved to answer any questions. And no matter it's a group of students, a group of university professor, or kids for the kindergarten of one of his grandsons, he was to have all the patience, answer all the questions. Even a question is asked a few times, he will answer it. Adjust the level, what to say to the listeners, so everybody will know and understand and know we're talking. And he truly believe, also for us as a family, there are things that we used to go to the fields and will take again and again and tell us again and again. Well, I have like a family joke. One of the places, there is a field and then lines of eucalyptus trees, and there is an orchard, and there is a canal that was digged between them. And every time we just go there, and one of our kids, do you know what there is this canal? And they all answer, because we know he asked us this like 10 or 15 times already, and everybody know the answer, but it's like a family joke that every time we see like a canal like this, someone is asking, do you know why is it here? Because he feels so important for us to understand and to know everything, so he tells again and again and again. My father loved to drink wine, beer, whiskey, brandy, whatever it is. And you see in this picture, it's very obvious that he enjoyed it. And he and a group of his friends that they used to have every Friday to sit together, drink wine and talk politics or football, sports, weather, things that are going on the kibbutz and many other things. And after some time, I don't know if it's because it was too expensive for them or they just started as a hobby, they decided to plant a vineyard and to grow their own grapes and make winery and create their own wine. And it was very nice. It's something that's going on for, I think, 16 or 17 years already. You see the picture in the middle, someone happy that he has his grapes and ready to make wine from. And after October 7th, the wineman of my father was the agriculture person of the group, and the person that was responsible to make the wine, he was murdered on October 7th, and 2 other members, important key members of the group, were kidnapped too. And of course, all the kibbutz was in chaos, and all was a bit neglected. And after a few months, the grandson of the person that was murdered took responsibility of it, came to the to the winery and started to see what we can do in order to help the wine that was in the barrel, to fix it, to make sure it will be okay, the wine that was still in the barrels. And thanks to advice some wine expert from Israel, they managed to save this wine. And at the beginning of the summer, we put it in bottles. This is the picture on the bottom left. It's supposed to be a good wine, get good review from people that understand wine. On the top left, the vineyard itself, they started to give it back water, fix whatever needed to be fixed. And in last August, we harvest the grapes for next year, and now it's in the barrel waiting for him to come back and enjoy the wine. Unfortunately, the two other men that were kidnapped, they were murdered, and their body luckily were brought back, and they're buried now in Nir Oz. And all the people of the vineyard and the people of the kibbutz waiting for my father to be back and be able to be part of this again. My father can be a funny man. He can laugh, when to be serious and when he can have fun with his friends or in Purim celebration in Israel or whatever. So it's just to see he's a great man. Let's talk about what happened in Nir Oz on October 7. We just talk a bit. So according to today, on October 7, 117 people out of the 400 that used to live in the kibbutz were either kidnapped or murdered. 41 were murdered on that same day. Their bodies were found in the kibbutz. Another 76 people were kidnapped. In total now we know that there are 57 people that were murdered. So these 41, we have 7 bodies of people that were IDF managed to rescue their bodies and bring them back to be buried in Israel. And we still have 9 people that already announced dead, but their bodies still kidnapped in Gaza. We know that the terrorists used some of the people that were murdered, they kidnapped the bodies also, not just the living people. 40 women and children were released on the November agreement. I don't like the word, people talk about the deal about it, but I don't like the word deal. Deal is something you do with someone about your car, not about people's life. So the word deal it's the word that sounds, also in Hebrew they say the word for it, but I try not to say it. I talk about agreement or something like this because it's something that needs to be agreed and people need to be rescued home. And like I said, 7 bodies were rescued by IDF. From the murdered people, we know that about, again, 7 people different, but they were kidnapped alive and murdered in Gaza. This is something we know for sure. Some of them will release their bodies, some not. And we still have 29 people that were missing, not with us. 9 already announced dead, and another 20 that assumed to be alive, but we don't have any evidence about them. There is some information about some of the people. I don't know what is the recent one for each person in Nir Oz. The family are asked not to share it because it's important intelligence, and if the terrorists will know that they know what about him, they might do something. Kill him, move it to another place or somewhere else. So we need to be very careful to say when you hear the news about people. Not much to say now. 2 men or 2 families that we like to talk about in specific. On the left is Aviv Atzili. He was one of my class members that I grew up with. Like I said, he's a brother for me. He was part of the first response group. He left his wife, Filiat, that we see in the picture, left her in the home and took his rifle, and went to fight and protect his community in the kibbutz. We know at the beginning that they managed to kill a few terrorists, and all the evidence, we know more or less where they have been going and fighting. But unfortunately, at the end, he was murdered with some others, and his body was kidnapped to Gaza. His wife, Liat, was also kidnapped from their home, and she was returned after 53 days, I think, 54 days. And all this period is a terrible emotional roller coaster, but for her, she was released, and we were so happy that she was released. And just the next day, came the announcement that all the evidence showed that Aviv was murdered. So we came from a very high emotion to the bottom. Very, very sad days that this was. Aviv was in Rose. He was working in the fields, in the garage. He used to fix the tractors and the machinery all the time. And the recent year, what you see here, he became an artist. He never knew he's an artist, but he started to paint and create in welding and doing stuff and painting. And he got very, very good reviews. And unfortunately for us, he could be a very, very good. He was an artist, but he could create much more things. And he was. It will never happen again. On the right side, the most right person, his name is Roy Munder. He is also my brother, my friend. On October 7, his whole family was kidnapped. He was murdered in front of his house, and his father, mother, sister, and his sister's son were kidnapped. So when they found his body and they wanted to bury him, there was no one of these first related family with him to make sure of the burial, to decide where he's going to be buried, to say Kaddish, nothing. No one there was one. And his uncles took him and buried him wherever they live, when his grandparents are buried, just because we had to do something. It was a very, very sad funeral for us. I tried to read something in the name of all the friends, and I just couldn't. It was one of the hardest things I ever did in my life, I must admit. His mother, sister, and her son were also released after 54 days. And when they arrived, we learned to know that they heard that he was murdered in the radio. They had some radio and they managed to hear someone talking about him, and then they realized that he was murdered. The father, when his mother and sister were kidnapped, the father he was a not healthy man, and he couldn't walk. He was walking like in very small step and everything, and they thought he was left in the house. She didn't know if he's alive or not. And we know now that later another group of terrorists came in, and they kidnapped him and took him on a motorcycle. On the way, the motorcycle crashed twice, and he arrived to Gaza wounded in his arm and legs. And he was with my mother until she was released, and all the time my mother took care of him and making sure, putting some lotion, some bandages on his wounds. And when he was taken from my mother one day before she released, he was much better than how he arrived. And sorry, they were released on the same day like my mother. And then they met my mother when all the hostages were gathered together before the release. And then she didn't know what happened to him. She was sure he was shot to death in their house. And then my mother told Ruti, his wife, that he was with her and he's okay. She was very, very happy that day. But as time goes, some rumors came that he probably might have murdered in Gaza. And in last August, his body was recovered. And this was a very, very sad day for everyone, of course, to his family, but also my mother, which after she was released, she was like in a very, I cannot say high, but she was in a very strong woman who took all the experience, a very empowering experience, and she wanted it to be, she decided she's going to live on and be with her family and everything. And from that moment, we even started before, but when this happened, and another from the elderly men of Kibbutz Nir Oz were also bodies were rescued, she became very sad. It was very, very hard for her to see, to realize, to people that she saw them alive, and we know that they were murdered there. It's not just they died from elderly in the captivity, which is also terrible, but we know they physically were murdered and shot to death in captivity. So yeah, this story did end good. At least his mother, sister, and son were released. These are some houses, some picture of Nir Oz. On the right, it's the parking of the ambulance. When terrorists arrived in Nir Oz, they had clear maps. I didn't talk about it, but in the first slide, when you see the numbers of Nir Oz, on the left there were maps. These maps, the terrorists came with maps. They know they were divided to come from the two main gates. Half the people go to this part of the kibbutz, other there. This is the ambulance that need to be neutralized first. This is the place for the commander of the first response group. We need to make sure he won't get out. They had clear map with instruction. They knew exactly what they're doing. So one of the first things they did, they shot the ambulance, they blow it away so no one can use it. On the left is some containers that people use for storage. And one of the first video that was released by Hamas to the world to show how heroes they are and what they did, we saw these containers, people around them robbing them and taking them. And after they finished to take whatever they wanted to take, they just torch them and burn them to the ground. This is the dining hall of the kibbutz. It was Saturday, early morning, no one was there, but still they shut the windows, shut it for no reason. And on the right, it's a very nice, it's very strong exhibitions that one of the kibbutz members did. It's the post offices of the kibbutz, and on each one we see stickers that say red is murdered, black is kidnapped, and blue is released. It was done after 2 weeks. 3 weeks. There are 2 elderly ladies that were released after 16 days. Hamas call it a humanitarian release. They both were in a very bad health condition, and we believe they just didn't want them to die in their hands. Back then, it was just the beginning, and they thought having the hostages alive it's have a value. So one of them was badly wounded, and the other something with the stomach. She used to vomit a lot, and probably they were afraid that she will infect all the others. So they released these 2 ladies. So these are the 2 blue stickers that you see. Just some more picture of all the houses that were burned, and some of them totally collapsed. Some of them just see. In Israel, houses are usually built from concrete, not from wood. So it's just the frame, but it's nothing that can be rebuilt. It's need to destroy and build from scratch. On the left, it's the kibbutz supermarket or something like this. You can see the shelf, and also why to burn it. There was just to destroy. There were no people there. There is nothing. There's no reason to do it. But just part of what they did is not just to kill and kidnap people. It's just pure to destroy and do damage. This is some more pictures. The picture on the right is a house that they couldn't go inside the safe room, so they put a bomb on the door. The door was exploded, and then they managed to get inside. The people inside one of them was badly wounded and then died in captivity. We don't have his body yet. He's still in Gaza. His partner was kidnapped and released after in the first agreement. And what I wanted to show in this picture on the one on the left is that the kibbutz is green back. Since October 7, some people, there is one person that she stayed in the kibbutz. She never left it, even when everyone were evacuated. She stayed there. She said, I'm not leaving the place. And slowly, as it was possible, more people came every day and started to. I cannot kill to rebuild because the houses are still burned and turned. But to start first to fix all the water lines, the gas lines, the electricity. For example, in many of the houses, the terrorists just broke the gas lines and torched it in order for us to be burned faster. And then started to put boards on the doors and windows that were broken. So it was winter, so no animals will go, no rain will go inside. No one knew exactly what is going to be. After some time, they started, for example, to clear the refrigerators. In some houses, there was no electricity. So the refrigerator in these houses was just taken outside, sealed, and thrown away to the garbage because it's impossible to reuse them. In houses that electricity was still there, they just clear everything out because after 2 months, everything got bad. And slowly, they work on the kibbutz, cut the grasses, put water to everything. Also doing some guided tours to people that come to see and understand what happened there. And Nir Oz is our home that it will be rebuilt. It's today people cannot live in Nir Oz. It will take even after they will decide exactly what they're going to do and will start, it will take between 2 to 3 years until the kibbutz members will be able to live there again. So when after on October 8th, all the people that were still survived, they were evacuated to Eilat. They left. They lived there for 3 months. It was a hotel. It was a very nice hotel. I've been there in the past as vacation, but to live as a family in a hotel for 3 months, it's terrible. It's nightmare. It's not something you can. It's not like being in a vacation in the hotel. And it's not just that. You're there with the people that just suffer the most horrible trauma that I don't think even one can think about it, but it just happened to them. So we went there a few days, 3 times, me and my wife, to visit them, to support the community, support my sister that was there with her family. They lived in 2 rooms, 2 hotel rooms that are connected together, family of 6 for 3 months. So you don't, I'm not talk about privacy, but 1 bathroom for all the 6 people, 2 adult daughters, and everything is on the tables and everything, no single free place for them to be. When you go to the hotel lobby, it's like going to a zombies hotel. People are sitting there looking at nothing and thinking what we're going to do. So it was very, very, very hard day. They came with nothing. When they left the kibbutz, they told everyone, okay, it seems it's quiet now. You have 5 minutes to go to your houses, pick up whatever you can in these 5 minutes, and the bus are going in 10 minutes after you came back and took your kids and went there. So they came with nothing. At the beginning, there came a lot of donations came, and then people came and helped them to sort it out, to get something, to find whatever they need, clothes, underwears, soap. Think about the smaller thing, not just a new jacket that you need. The smaller thing that you need every day, they came with nothing. 1 bag with 2 underwears and a shirt. That's what they had. So it was very, very difficult time. After 3 months, they were able to move to, they found in a city called Kiryat Gat a few buildings that these buildings were built for long-term rental, and there was enough space there. So each family got an apartment there. This is very nice. It was equipped with all the appliances, all the furniture that we need in the house, TV, everything was there. And they are currently there. Whoever wanted to go there went there, and they're waiting to come back to the kibbutz. Not everyone wants to go back to the kibbutz. Not everyone chose to go to Kiryat Gat. Some people want to disconnect. My sister, for example, and her family, as much as there was hard for them to disconnect from the community, they decided that they wanted to live in a kibbutz, not in a city, not in a building in the city. And they moved to another kibbutz, and they're living there now. You must understand, living in the kibbutz, there are barely no cars. It's all grass and everything. Kids from age, I think, 4 or 5 already ride their bikes and go to their friends, and sometimes the parents don't even know where they are. And it's no problem, not a problem at all. It's something very, very common and happen. And even if go to this friend, and after some time, you call them, no, he's not here. He came, and after 2 minutes, they went to the 3rd friend, and it's okay. You just want to know him because it's time for dinner or something like this, but not because the parents are worrying that something happened to him. And no worries, they can go around free and no problems. And now they're living in the city, in buildings, so it's a very, very different way of life. Some people, like my mother said, I will go back to the kibbutz as soon as it will be possible. Others say, I will never step again in this place. Even one of the released hostages, her husband, he died many years ago, he's buried in the kibbutz, and said, unfortunately, I cannot go there even to visit them. I will not step there again. Others said, I don't know. It depends what will be. What will happen in the kibbutz, what will be the security of living next to Gaza in the following years, I don't know. And some even said, I didn't have the power, the resources, everything to even think about it. I don't know. So it's all can happen, everything can happen, and people, some young families, many young families said, we will not go there, we want to go to another place, and it's a problem because the young families is the center of, this is the future of the kibbutz. If they won't come, left all the elderly people, and then in a few years, no one will be able to maintain the kibbutz. So we don't know what will happen, what will be the future, but we do believe that the kibbutz will be rebuilt and people will be back to live there. About myself, from October 7, all I do is doing for this, the release of the hostages. First, both of my parents, and then after that, after my mother was released. And thankfully, she came in a pretty good condition. So, of course, we spend time with her, but we don't need to be worried about her to take care of her. She's independent, she's driving, everything is okay. But I didn't work. Also, my wife didn't work until September this year. She's a teacher, and she started to teach again this year, but all last year, from October till last September, she didn't go to school to teach. All we do is activities for release of the hostages. We've been doing some march while in Israel, 2 times that we marched from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in order to get support from the people, to put this thing back in the news, that people will talk about it and know this is still something that happened. It's not an event that happened in October 7 last year. This is our life since then, and we need it to happen. There are still 101 people. My father is one of them, but many others that need to be released. We met many of the families of the hostages, and many of them are now my family too. We talk with each other, we help each other, we support each other. When we hear the news about someone that has been murdered, and if we don't have his body, or if we have and there is a funeral, of course we go to the funeral, we go to visit them, we'll be with them, we support them as much as we can, because it's a family. The one on the left, you can see us, we did a march like hostages with our eyes blind, something on our eyes, we couldn't see where we were walking, and they led us where to walk. We meet many people. In this case, this is the German ambassador in Israel, but we know the families with the American citizenship. They come here a lot to talk with the administration, with the Met, even Biden and everyone, and they're doing a lot. And also, my family was German citizenship, so the German ambassador and the German government are very, very supportive too. We also used to sleep outside there is an army base inside Tel Aviv where many of the meeting of the war cabinet were happened. So we spent some time sleeping in the gates to show them that we are still here. Every time they come, they go, they will see us there. I traveled around the world several times now. It's my 4th visit in the United States since October 7. I've been to Germany, I've been to, in the United States, I've been to New York, to Detroit, to North Carolina. I go to interviews, I go to the media, go to talk to people about this experience. They build in Tel Aviv, in one place, and they call it now the Hostages Square. There are many exhibitions about the hostages there. There is example for the tunnels, for example, a model of the tunnel. There is many art things that people do in the moment for the hostages and raise awareness. And sometimes groups are coming there, and there is a guy that showed them everything all, and then they would like to meet a family member. So I do this. I talk to, this week of course not, but once or twice a week I go there and talk to groups, participate in meetings, do whatever we can in order to raise the awareness, and do whatever we can in order to release. Meeting government officials, unfortunately no much luck until down with this, but we hope that this will change. We do campaigns. By the way, the handsome man you see on the right, it's me after October 7. I didn't shave my beard, didn't cut my hair all the time. I said I will not do it until they will be back. When I said it back in November last year, I couldn't imagine it will take more than a year, but it's not something I can just stop and do. So this is me. On the right, it's a campaign we did. We call the Missing Passer picture. I don't think there's too much explanation to show there. We recreated the pictures, same clothes, same place, same people, except that the person that is missing. Many family did this, and it was very, very successful campaign to show exactly where we are. And Nir Oz was always in my heart. Where every time we are going to Nir Oz, I felt coming home, even though I don't live there for more than 20 years. This is the place I was born and raised. This is my home, my parents. And it's so important to me. My daughter planned to do the tattoo. Said, I will have this tattoo on October 8th. This flower is part of Nir Oz symbol. You see it on my shirt. Usually this flower has many colors, greens and reds, but currently we don't have the place to color. So, and she said, when she decided to do it, she said, will you do it with me? And I thought, I never thought to do a tattoo. I don't think I'll do it. And a few days before we went to do it, I talked with my wife and we thought, yeah, we have in the morning the memorial for Efrat, my father partner, and after that we go with her to the place where they do the tattoo. And she told me, are you going to do it too, like she said? I said, I don't think so. I never thought about it. And from that moment, it started to work in the back of my mind all the time. And only when we arrived there, I decided I'm going to do it. And we waited a bit, and then came the person that is doing the tattoo. And he talked to us and said, okay, you send me the sketch. I'll do a print, few sizes, and we'll see which one is the best one. And I said then, and will you do it to me too? And both my wife and my daughter were amazed like this, but I decided to do it, and I don't have regrets for it. And we did it like this, black and empty, and maybe one day will paint it back with the colors of the sign or the colorful signs. We don't know. That's it. Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Yair. First, before I talk about I'm going to say a few words about the organization, but first I just want to emphasize how moving it is to hear his story in different places, all over, well, for you all over the world, because I think maybe we can see some statistics in the news, or maybe a friend of a friend of a friend, but I really just want to emphasize to really soak in this opportunity that you got to meet someone who has this personal connection, and that it's more than just a statistic to you now, that it's now part of your responsibility, I believe, to share the story of someone whose father is this farmer who teaches around the world, who's now still stuck in Gaza, whose mother helped heal other people in captivity who were later killed, that you have these personal stories and touch it. So to please continue sharing his story with everyone you know. My name is Shoshana. I'm one of the directors of this nonprofit called Faces of October 7th that brought Yair to the States this time. And basically we've brought about 20 speakers like him all around the world since October 7th. It started because this other young woman and I, we used to work at a Jewish community center on a college campus, and so we had these connections with college campuses, and we had a lot of personal connections with survivors of October 7th from the festival and from the Kibbutz Nir Oz. And so we just started bringing people. We decided college students really needed a first-hand account to really hear and understand what happened there on that day. And the more events we did, the more people we brought, we realized how important it was to continue doing more and more of this work. So now here we are, a year later. We've been to over 350 communities, 90 of which have been college campuses, and we plan on doing more and more of this work. And a little more about where we are right now is we brought a lot of people in October, and honestly, it's been insane to try to fly in and out of Israel in the state that it's in. The flights have been terribly expensive. We've had a lot of issues to continue, but we're really determined to keep doing this work. So I first want to say thank you to all the generous people who have helped us make this event possible and who have already donated. But if you feel compelled to help support our mission and haven't yet, the QR code on the screen is to a place that you can donate, and you can also find more information about our organization from our website, which is also on the screen. And I have some pamphlets that have information about our mission and why we do it and what we've done so far. And the last part is that the other way to help support us outside of financially is if you have other ideas of places that you think should have a speaker or survivor come share their testimony in person. That's what I do. We'll go to churches, other synagogues, high schools, colleges. My personal cell phone number and email is on the back, and I also have cards up here. So feel free, if you want to get more involved with the organization, to come pick up a pamphlet or come to talk to me after. And now we're going to transition into a Q&A session. And before we do, I just want to emphasize again what this unique opportunity to talk to someone who has personal connections to October 7th, to the hostages. So I want to explain that that's where we're going to keep the conversation. We're not going to talk about anything political leaders, political actions. We're going to keep the conversation to be making the most out of the opportunity of Yair being here. But otherwise, feel free to ask him anything. He's very open, easy to talk to. Thank you so much.
Ask the person anything, like Shana said, the worst I will tell you, I don't want to talk about it, but you feel free to ask about anything, and I'll try to answer.
I have a question. I'm curious if there is, you mentioned the idea of it might take 2 or 3 years longer or more, or longer to rebuild Nir Oz. Is there some sort of way for people who don't live in Israel or don't live in on the kibbutz to come and volunteer, like structurally, like to help with rebuilding walls and planting flowers and anything sort of?
Currently there is nothing, because we don't know exactly what is going to be and what will be the schedule for it. Building, I believe it will be, like I said, in Israel the build is different from here, so you need to be a builder, you know how to build it, so it's not so simple. I believe there will be groups. Even today there are some people that come and volunteer, for example, to like I said, to maintain the kibbutz. Or last time I was there, there were a few groups of people from Germany, for example, that just came and wanted to help, and they're trying to take the leaves away or things like this. They're trying just to maintain the place to be even for the tourists that comes there, and whenever everything starts, it will be in a good starting point. So it happens. I don't know about exactly how it's done today, but if it's important, I can try to find out.
First of all, thank you for being here. I imagine that it's very difficult to summarize the life of your father in a short time, but I am grateful for what you did share. And you shared that some people are eager to return to the kibbutz, some are not able to comprehend what that is. How do you feel about being there and going back there?
I'm not living in the kibbutz for more than 20 years, so it's not. Yeah, sorry. I'm not living in the kibbutz for more than 20 years, so it's not like I'm going to be. Me and my family were not going to live there. Didn't happen. And people, which I think there is not right and wrong. Each one how he feels, what is right for him, this is the right thing. Some people experience, they say, oh, it's so terrible, I cannot see this place. The horrors come to me immediately. And some say, even of all what happened, this is my home, I will not leave it, I will go back there, I'll rebuild it and live there. And like I said, there is no right and wrong. Everyone, what is feel right for him this is the right thing to do. Yes?
I lived on the Kibbutz Nir Oz. I was a chayalit with Nachal. And my parents lived on Moshav Gaya. Did they have any terrorism in those places?
I think Nir did have. I don't remember what happened exactly there, but it's close enough for things to happen there. But I cannot tell you, Moshav Gaya, I don't think they arrived there. I think there was something in Nir, but I don't remember exactly if it's close, but it's far enough for them to be alerted and be ready. In some of the places, for example, the Kibbutz Magen, which is the Kibbutz Nir Oz, but a bit deeper, when the siren started, the commander of the first response group, instead of going to the shelter, did what he usually does, And he went up to the hill and to look what happened. And he started to see what happened in Nir Oz, and he started to see that they're coming also to the direction for Magen. And then immediately called all his team and come, and they were prepared. And when the terrorists arrived, their fence, they were prepared for them, and had a terrible fight with them. But they managed to scare the terrorists away. 2 men were died, he lost his leg, but they managed to protect the Kibbutz Magen, and the terrorists didn't come inside. And I think in the Orner is something similar for that. I don't remember exactly, but it's similar enough that they didn't manage to go inside the place. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to honor this young lady's request, but I'm concerned about peace. And I am also concerned that it seems that, I'll say, poor Israel is stuck in a spot where Israel has to hate the Palestinians, and the Palestinians have to hate the Israelis. And that's hell. My request is it possible for you to address the question of how can you make healing happen? Because I don't want Israel to feel hatred, and I don't want the Palestinians to feel hatred.
Okay, so I can tell you that not everyone in Israel used to hate the Palestinians, okay? It's changed. October 7 broke the belief of many, many people in Israel. My parents, like I said, they believe in peace, they believe in coexistence. Some people of Nir Oz, and if not wrong, my father did it a few times, used to go to the border, drive Palestinians that need to go to hospitals in Israel that were allowed to go, to drive them because they couldn't cross with their car. After they cross the border, take them with their own car, drive them to the hospital for them to get the medical treatment, and bring them back to the border after that. And these people really, really believed in this. We need to live together. We need to find the way to live together. And like I said, I don't want to get too much to politics, but after Israel left Gaza, 18 years ago, Israel is not in Gaza at all. So everything that was before, we can talk a lot, decide was right, was wrong, many, many options. But Israel is not there. The amount of money that was invested by all the world, the US, the Arab countries, all the world in Gaza is billions and billions of dollars. And instead of building paradise, they chose to buy weapons, to build tunnels, and just focus on trying to destroy Israel. And we know that their education was very addressed for it, and many other things. And even for me, it's now hard to believe that we can live together. And it must be the Palestinians that need to decide that they want to live next to us and not to destroy us, because otherwise it will not work. I know some people in Israel think different, and they think we need to destroy it all and kill all the Arabs or move them from there and live there again in Gaza, and that's it. But it's a very, very small minority of people. The majority of people of Israel don't want to be there. But my opinion today, we just need to build a very, very high wall, and they can do whatever they want inside there. They cannot cross it. Whoever go near the wall should be shot, and that's it. This is my own opinion, okay? It's not official, not. And it's broke. It wasn't like this. 2 years ago, I thought different. But it's broke because we know, like I said, women and children participated in it. Many of the hostages on the way inside Gaza, people cheered. People tried to beat them. People tried to stab them. And it's so the question is, what about the civilians, innocent civilians? I don't know who is innocent there. I really don't know. I believe there are some innocent people there, but I cannot point them. I don't know who from between the Palestine is innocent and who is not. And until they will decide they want to live in peace near Israel and not to try to destroy Israel, this is what they're trying to do today, it will be very hard to live together. And I believe it's just education. It will take now many, many years. And I don't know what we're going to do there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for talking to us. What do you think is the one or a few things that are the most important that Americans can do to help and support the hostage families and the hostages?
I think one of the more things is really believe it and talk to your family, to your friends, to co-workers, whoever you are with, that it's not something that happened a year ago. It's still going on. And these hostages, there are many things that you can do. For example, contact your elected official and tell them, what are you doing for the Israeli hostages that are still in Gaza? Thing like this that I know that in America is very common, and they need to answer you what you are doing, and you'll know if they're doing or not, and do things around it. Put your social media things about it to make the awareness that it's still there. There's still many people that are still hostages, 101 people that need to be back. Some of them are alive, we hopefully alive and need to be back to Israel, to live in Israel. Some we know that are dead, but they must be brought and be buried properly in Israel land. Today, some of them, we are afraid that some of them will never know where they are buried and will not find them. But we need as many people as possible will be back and be buried properly and get a funeral and everything. So these are the things that you can do. It's just to keep the thing alive and people be aware about it.
Yes. How do you feel, and maybe how do you think the people of Nir Oz feel about people coming to take a tour, and whether do some people feel that it's inappropriate, or do they feel that it's okay?
The tour we are doing in Nir Oz, it's not like a touristy tour that people pay for it, because in some places we know that they try to do it or people against it. I think it's important for people to see, because when you gather and see this, you saw some of the pictures, but to be to see these containers burn down, to be in the place where the ambulance parked and to see it, to feel it, it's 100 times stronger than just to see it in pictures. And pictures, as terrible they are, they don't tell the whole story, because it's a picture. It's like when you look at the great scenery outside and you take a picture and you look at the picture and say, what is this? It's not the same. So again, then it's not the same. At the beginning, when you go to Nir Oz, you used to smell the smoke. Now it's not there anymore, but it's still there. So it's very important. And this tour, they have a lot of meaning to show what happened. People must understand what happened. It's very hard to understand it just from stories and pictures.
Yes.
Thank you. You brought it to me with your story about like the big Yeladim and the laundry, because I worked on a kibbutz doing the laundry for the big Yeladim. And I guess I wondered, because the kibbutz I was on, it had Ulpan and also volunteers. And I'm wondering if many of the kibbutzim around Gaza had many volunteers or Ulpan and what have you.
Yes. Well, I don't know about recent years. There've been some volunteers. I'm not sure. I don't know if there have been at October 7 in Nir Oz. In the past, there have been volunteers all the time.
I saw that there were like Thai workers.
Yeah, there are many Thai and Philippine workers that were murdered or kidnapped in October 7. But I think that all the volunteer thing that came to Israel is stopped or very, very low frequency. Very few people. It's not like was in the 70s, 80s, 90s that when back then it was many years to come. I remember as a child that lived in Nir Oz that all the time we had volunteers around that came, and it was a nice scenery, and then they had a good time mostly. But I don't remember hearing about volunteers that been in the kibbutzim at that time and got hurt or something like this. One more thing that I forgot to tell you about my kids. So, like I said, I have 3 kids. My daughter is 20, she's a soldier. I have another son which is 17 and another which is 14. And for them, they're trying to be youth. 20 is still youth. They're trying to live their life, to be their friends, go to school, do whatever they can in order. They're aware of the situation, of course, and they're trying to cope with it. They go to council if needed, whatever is needed. But they're trying to be young men and doing whatever they need to do with their friends. My young son is supposed to have his bar mitzvah on October 19. We had everything planned, go to Jerusalem, to the Kotel, and do it there, a big celebration with all the family. And of course, this couldn't happen. October was still war all over Israel. And we asked him, do you want to do it we go to a synagogue near where we live, brings 3 of the friends, because he practiced so much The picture you saw me with another beard and everything, I had a kippah because it was on October 5th. We just went to a synagogue to do like a final rehearsal before, so he'll feel how to be in the synagogue. We're not going regularly to the synagogue to see this, to see the Torah book that he's going to read and everything. And he said, I don't want to, and after some time, we thought, why? And then he said, bar mitzvah is such an important thing that we need to do once in your life, a big celebration, and I want my grandfather to do there. And this October he had his 14th birthday, and we asked again, do you want to do it? And he said, no. And one in our conversation, he told me, I know that the most terrible thing might happen, and if it will happen, of course, after some time we will do it. But as long as there is a chance that my grandfather is coming alive, I'm waiting for him. And I'll do the bar mitzvah whenever he's come back. I know bar mitzvah, it's something that we heard that people, for example, for the Holocaust, did their bar mitzvah when they're 60s or 90s even, so it can be done later. It's okay. And we're waiting for my father to be back for his bar mitzvah too. Any more questions?
I have.
Yes.
What do the people in your circle think about our attacks on Iran?
What? About Israel's
Attacks on
Yeah.
Iran.
defensive.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about it. I can tell you, for example, because for one thing, Israel cannot allow that to be attacked and not do something again. From the other side, will it cause a bigger war or not? Will Israel again be attacked from missiles from Iran? And we saw the last time they did it twice, and the last time was they used a very new missiles that arrived in just a few minutes, and it was very fearing time to be in Israel. So we don't know. The same I can tell you. I don't know about that Sinwar was died last week and died in the war. We managed to kill him. And is it good or not? I don't know. Was I said that this man is died? No, I wasn't said. But it comes many other questions that we don't know about the hostages. Will the people that hold the hostages decide to revenge and kill them? Might be. Also, who is Israel going to talk now with in order to get to some agreement? There is no leader now. So, and we know that Sinwar was a leader that keep a lot of the information with him. So was this information lost? Maybe a group that have some hostages that are just isolated and no one knows and no one can talk to them. So I don't know what will happen because of that, how it's going to influence. We just hope that the next one will lead them, or the people that holding them will decide it's a chance to finish it, and Israel promised that whoever bring hostages back will be protected and even get money and things like this, because we want them to bring them back. So maybe this is a chance for them just to do it, but we really, really don't know. Yes.
Hi, thank you for being here. Can you speak a bit more to your mother's experience since returning, and how she's been supported and what her routine's like now?
Yes. Like I said, my mother from the moment she arrived in the hospital, she told us the whole story, what happened to her all the time. She knew, she remembered, she shared the details with us. And since then, it seems like she's okay. She get physical treatment for whatever she needs. She get mental treatment, therapy, whatever is needed, she get all this. And it seems like she's okay. In the first few months, it was really, she was really high, I can say, and in a very good spirit. I overcome them, I'm stronger than them. I was released, I'm living, I'm with my family, everything okay. But as long as time passed and came the news about people that were murdered back then, and it's people that from the elderly group of the kibbutz, that she knows them, she lived with them most of her lives. It became harder and harder for her, and you saw the sadness coming in her, and suddenly you see the age coming on her again. So it's in the middle. We're trying to, of course, support her, do whatever we can in order for her to to feel better, to feel as safe as possible, and to believe that all the people that are still there will be back. She's participating in the struggle with all of us, like many other released hostages, doing whatever they can in order to support this. And we're trying to hang on and to be like this. Yes.
I see you have a necklace. Is that significant?
Yes. There are many one is the yellow ribbon that we have is a sign for the hostages. If I'm not wrong, it's something that already started in the United States back in I don't remember which war, but used to put yellow ribbons around houses that people that were hostages were released. And I have the dog tag is it says it's like also in Israel every soldier has his dog tag like in America, and on the top in Hebrew it says our heart is captured in Gaza, and on the bottom bring them home now. And this little heart is just and a very nice lady that she wanted to support the families of the hostages and the hostages themselves. And she saw my picture of my mother when she was in hostage. She was the picture we said she was knitting. My mother loved to knit. She always used to knit sweatshirts for us and things like this. And this woman, she's also knitting, so she decided she wanted to support my mother. And while she was in captivity, she's doing like this small hearts. It's part of the things she's doing. And she did 77 hearts in many colors as the age of my mother, and another yellow heart for each day she's in captivity. And in one of the rallies that we have in Israel every Saturday, we have a big rally to bring the awareness and keep it. My cousin saw her with the picture of my mother and talked to her. She told her all the story. And then she got her details and we talked to her. And then when we met her, she gave us these hearts and I connected them back to, and it was even before my mother was released. Actually about, I think 1 month ago, maybe two, somewhere in September, I lost the first one. It just broke and I lost it, so I put a new one. So this one is a new one, but till recently I have one here, which was already like 6 or 7 months here with me.
To let you know, if anyone wants one of these dog tag necklaces, I have a handful extra if anyone needs one.
I also have a few of yellow ribbon pins that you can put on yourself. I brought some. Okay. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.